When we last left Rayne, she defeated her father Kagan and began helping the Brimstone Society destroy the leftover vampire forces plaguing humanity. In the real world, however, Rayne's popularity was average at best. There was going to be an entry in the series for the PlayStation Portable, but was cancelled due to finances. There were also comic books, a strange appearance on a short-lived MTV show where video game characters sang popular music at the time. They had her sing Evanescence. It was bad. A centerfold in Playboy, and of course, who can try to forget the trilogy of horrible movies and a really offensive spin-off made by schlockmaster Uwe Boll. After that, the BloodRayne franchise sadly laid dormant until 7 years later when developer Way Forward, well known for not only making excellent games for classic franchises like Contra, A Boy and His Blob, DuckTales, and the popular Shantae series, decided that Rayne had slept long enough and developed the final installment in the trilogy and the subject for the finale of Bordello of BloodRayne, BloodRayne Betrayal. But can a fresh developer spark new life into this undead franchise? Let's find out. Wait a minute, I'm talking about the PC version. Perhaps I should change seats. Just a sec. Okay. Alright. There we go. Now let's find out. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you this. The story for Betrayal is incredibly thin. Taking place in what I can guess is after the second game, the Brimstone Society is leading an attack against a vampire horde who's holed up in a castle, and Rayne is asked to partake in one last mission to destroy them. What Rayne discovers is that Kagan is alive, again, and she must kill him one last time. Yep, and that's pretty much it. You go into a castle run by vampires to kill all the creatures and the vampiric lord. Yeah, that doesn't sound familiar at all. Speaking of which, at first glance, Betrayal looks to take a page from a game in the Castlevania series, and you'd be right, as it actually plays like a classic 2D side-scrollervania instead of a symphony type. As Rayne, you progress through each stage killing some undead, doing a bit of platforming, and a few environmental puzzles here and there. Rayne's arsenal has been shrunk down a bit from her previous adventures. Her signature arm blades return with that fast, smooth, combo-performing melee combat she's famous for. She also has a magnum that's good for clearing enemies quickly, but takes ammo. Thankfully, enemies drop bullets on a decent basis. You also obtain a solar gun that fires a blast as powerful as the sun that can be used to not only kill vampires and other creatures, but activate switches. As far as powers go, Rayne doesn't have but a few, which for a game of this type isn't a bad thing. She can feed on enemies to refill health like always, but now she can give them a quick bite to infect them, then detonate them like a bomb, damaging anything in the blast, which is also needed to blast open some areas. Later on, Rayne obtains the ability to turn into a raven, allowing her to fly through dangerous terrain or skip by enemies altogether. A big part of BloodRayne 2 was the slight RPG elements that were added that increased Rayne's stats depending on your combat skills. Betrayal decided to hell with that and now has you collecting red skulls that are hidden throughout the stage. When you collect 5 of them, you're offered the option to increase your health or the ammo of your gun. Since I hardly use the gun in combat, I mostly stuck to raising my health, which is what most probably will do as well. Now, when I said a minute ago that you'd be doing some fighting as well as platforming, I wasn't kidding. Betrayal has some of the most crazy platforming I've seen in a long time, with some parts truly testing your twitchy reflexes. Just expect to die quite a bit, especially with the sections where you fight wave after wave of creatures. At first, these parts are exciting, pulling off crazy acrobatic combos and jumps as if Rayne was Dante's even wilder sister. But then, the sad, ugly truth begins to rear its head. BloodRayne Betrayal is not that great of a game. But it's for the wrong reasons. See, I could easily say, oh, the game's too tough, I can't get past this stage. But the thing is, the game's actual challenge is just right. It tests your skills with those insane platforming sections and crazy combat on a level that, while may make you want to pull your hair out, is still possible to achieve. Especially when you factor in you get infinite continues and start from the last checkpoint you reach, which is represented as a blood fountain. Even then, the checkpoints aren't always spread out very well, making you repeat some fights in order to get back to the platforming section you died at. But even then, that's not what makes this game bad. The stake in the heart of this game is the controls. Rayne just isn't very responsive when trying to move her. There are times when you press the button to jump and she just decides, nope, you didn't do that, and falls straight down to her death. This is even more so worse when you're in Raven form and tapping the button to fly from a giant buzzsaw, only to just hop along the ground. But the biggest offender? The damn backflip. Yes, this essential move will be your downfall. I'll explain. To perform a backflip, you press the jump button as you turn quickly. The problem with that is when you're just trying to perform a regular jump, especially when trying to avoid attacks or jumping to a high platform, she'll most likely do a backflip instead and fall to her death. And you know what makes no sense? There's a dedicated button for the backflip, so you could use that, but there's no way to change it in the settings to where the jump button won't make you backflip, so you're stuck with it. It's just sad that a game with such awesome execution is made almost unplayable because of bad controls. On the presentation side of things, Betrayal fares much better. Visually, the game is stunning. Characters are all hand-drawn in a kind of dark, Saturday morning cartoon style, and have big enough sprites so you can actually see the great detail that was put into them. The stages are also appealing to the eyes, with many different locales within the castle, like underground caverns and elegant hallways. With audio, the music is just as great as the art, with a soundtrack written and performed by Jake Kaufman. Meanwhile, there's no actual voiceover like previous games, save for various grunt noises, so all the dialogue is done in chat bubbles, but even still, the script is pretty good. I'll be honest with you. It hurts me to say that BloodRayne Betrayal isn't that good of a game, even more so because of something so simple as bad controls. But the point of it, to me anyway, is if you're going to have a game filled with tricky platforming and hectic combat at all times, the controls have to be just right, otherwise it'll fall apart. When this game was released, critics were divided on it. Some praised the challenging difficulty and fun combat, while others said the controls killed it, especially when having the massive waves of enemies on your tail. My feelings are a bit of both. I thought WayForward did a great job bringing back a character not many people thought would ever come back, and made it their own, and it all works. But those controls just kill it for me, making it difficult to recommend to both action platformer and BloodRayne fans, especially if you can't get past a game with janky controls. But for those who can see past them, to you I say, give Betrayal a try. It might scratch that action platformer itch you've had for a long time. After Betrayal, Rayne returned to the shadows as sales for the game weren't very good. Who knows if she'll come back to fight the undead another day. One thing that is for sure though, is that she had quite a short but interesting legacy that many gamers, myself included, definitely won't forget. And with that, we come to the conclusion of Bordello of BloodRayne. I want to thank you all for watching and coming with me on this journey through a strange, interesting, short-lived franchise that sadly probably will never get another entry. Yeah, just whatever you do, play the games. Sure, don't watch the movies. But in any case, have a safe, wonderful, extravagant Halloween. Don't watch Uwe Boll movies at all. And I'll catch y'all next time. See you then.